Hey, my name is JordanKnowMoore. I'm the filmmaker for The Minimalists, and I'm going to show you my camera collection. I'm not going to show you them in any particular order other than I'm going to start with my first camera and show you my very favorite camera at the very end. So stick around. So the very first camera I ever got is actually a film camera. It's a 35mm film camera. It's the Canon AE1 program. When I was in film school, there was an assignment to get a film camera, and shoot film photography to learn about composition and framing. And back then, these were actually really cheap. I got this for like $30 at a thrift store. Today, they're between $200 and $300, depending on where you go. I bet you could probably find a better deal if they're more beat up. But if you look at this one, the quality and the craftsmanship, it's considering a camera that was made in the early 70s to 80s, this guy is in pretty good condition. In fact, most of the wear and tear on it is from me in the years I've had it. I got it back in 2011 for about 30 bucks. The next camera I'm going to talk about is the Olympus OM10. This camera I've actually never used. It was given to me by a friend, my friend Jimmy. I'm not sure he realized what he was giving me. He gave me a box with a bunch of camera equipment in it, and it was all these Olympus lenses and this camera. The reason why I haven't used it is the mirror is actually kind of dysfunctional. I haven't taken it in to get serviced yet, but you can kind of see how it doesn't really sit where it needs to sit. So I'm sure it'll take fine pictures. It's just hard to get focus and see what you're looking at through the viewfinder for that exact reason. A camera like this, typically you can find on the used market on eBay or Craigslist or OfferUp for around 100 to 200 bucks. The next camera I'm going to show you is the Yashica Electro 35. This camera might look familiar if you've seen the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans. This is actually what Peter Parker carried and shot with in that movie. This next camera is a really fun one. It was actually a gift from my girlfriend. It's the Lomography Sprocket rocket in fire engine red. This camera is really interesting. It actually takes panoramic photos, and for the price, I forget, I think it was like $110, and it's brand new, even though it takes film. Its nearest comparative camera is in the $3,000 range. So it's actually a really fun camera to take on vacation and get really cool panoramic shots. It's not really a professional camera, but I can see some people use it for like really interesting, artistic, lomography style photography. This one is the Bell & Howell 252. It's actually a reel-to-reel 8mm film camera for motion picture film. Another one that I've yet to use myself. I'm sure I could get it running, but it's interesting. It's a hand crank camera. So you crank it up, and I believe you apply tension to it, and then you can, yeah, there you go. So you hand crank kind of like a manual wind watch. You apply tension to it, and then you can fire away. I don't think it has a battery in it except for the light meter. But I picked this up at a thrift shop in Texas for, I believe it was like $50 or $60, but I just thought it looked interesting and different, and just a fun one to add to the collection for the bookshelf, you know? Next camera on the list is a Kodak 35. I don't really know, I was doing some research about this, and I don't really know if there's really a better designation other than what it says on the front of the camera, Kodak 35. This camera is actually from the 30s, I believe. And again, I have a roll of film in it. I've never gotten any film developed to test it, but it's an interesting one. It has very unique set of features, and it's not like your run-of-the-mill, like there's just a trigger on top, wind situation. This thing took me a good day to kind of figure out. I'm still kind of like, I don't know if I got it right, but we'll see one of these days. I'll get it developed. The next camera on my collection is actually a motion picture film camera. This is a Super 8 Canon Auto Zoom 814. It's like one of the classic cliche film cameras that you've probably seen people, you know, it's from the 60s. This is actually, this camera model is from 1966 specifically, and the quality is remarkable. The inside, it's almost like looks brand new. I picked this up before I ever knew that I was gonna get into film the way I am now. I actually picked this up just because I thought it looked cool, and it was at a Goodwill of all places in the original box, which I regrettably don't have the original box anymore, but I had it when I got it back in high school. And I actually used this to shoot a client project. I used this to shoot a video for The Minimalist. It was actually a video called Screenless Saturdays. And basically I threw it out there as a funny idea. Why don't we, since we're advocating for put your screens down, put your phones down, be, you know, analog for a day, I said, why don't we shoot the video in such a way? So we shot it all analog. We shot it with Super 8 film and cassette reel-to-reel sound. You can find that video, I'll link it somewhere right here. This next camera is actually over 100 years old. This is a Brownie 616, and most people who have these, they tend to just end up becoming a, you know, a bookshelf item, but I actually use this. It's probably not my favorite, but one of my favorite cameras because it's so simple. The way you use it is literally, there's a little toggle here. You just pull it back and forth, and that exposes the film, and you wind through the film right here on the side of the camera. And there's a viewfinder right here. Mine actually, they have two, but the top one for mine is broken, so I only use it in landscape mode, which is fine because my mind's eye, I only kind of see photography in a landscape. I very rarely take photos in portrait, like up and down. I see things in a wide scope, which I think a lot of people feel that way. You know, when you see the world, you see the world in panorama. This next one is another film camera, another motion picture film camera, the Argus 802. It's another one I've never used, but I just thought it was a cool one to add to the shelf. It's more of a classic home video camera of the era, also from the 60s era. It's built like a tank, but I hope to one day actually use this and run some film through it and see how it looks. This guy is the Mac Daddy. This is the Mamiya 645. I use this guy most of the time when I'm shooting any professional grade work for clients, like portraiture and stuff like that. This one definitely takes the cake for quality. It's better than most of the digital photos I've ever taken. And shooting on right now, this is the Sony a7R III, which has a monster of a sensor. So this guy, I believe firmly, takes better photos than the Sony a7R III. You know, have a field day in the comment section if you will, but that's what I believe. A bonus camera before we get to my favorite camera is, this is actually not mine, this is my girlfriend's. I bought it for her. This is a Kodak M35, and it's kind of like designed to be a disposable, reusable disposable, and you know, it's pretty in pink. Like, why not? It takes great photos. And last but not least, my favorite camera, the Rollei 35. This little guy is, at the time, was the smallest 35mm camera ever produced. And as soon as I saw one of these, I didn't know they existed, but the moment I saw one, I knew, I was like, I want that camera. I'm gonna, like, that is the type, that's a perfect camera for me, because my biggest gripe is I always want to shoot film photography when I'm out with friends and family and stuff, and even like just for portraits, because sometimes there's like a great scene and you know, you can't replicate this lighting in this situation. And it's in every situation. All the other cameras that you've seen here, they're all just too big. I don't like even the ones that are designed to be kind of portable and compact. It's not quite as small and as good as this, because this guy's packed with a Zeiss optics. The Zeiss lens really makes quality, amazing imagery. And it was also a gift by my girlfriend. So shout out to her for making sure that she not only got me the camera I wanted, but it's the made in Germany version, which is a little more rare and a lot more expensive. I think these can go for anywhere between $300 and $700 depending on the quality of the one you pick up. And this one is phenomenal quality. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, click the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Also, I wrote a book and it's coming out soon. It's called Essential Filmmaker, and it's a book for beginners. It's a book for young adults who want to get into filmmaking and get into the process of telling stories with video and film. So if you want to check out more details about that, go to JordanKnowMoore.com/book. See you next time.